Welcome to a new installment of Social Wavelength Conversations brought to you by socialwavelength.com. Join us for a chat full of rich digital and social media insights from the industry. Let's connect with our hosts Sanjay Mehta and Mihir Karkare for an exciting foray into the world of social media.
Hi, we are here again with one more episode of Social Wavelength Conversations. Sanjay here and that's Mihir. Yeah. And what are we going to talk about today, Mihir?
So, I wanted to talk about video and how video is becoming so important when it comes to your digital content strategy. I think in terms of so there's so many factors, right? So it's a very interesting topic. So that's what I want to talk about. Sanjay, what is your take on video?
So yeah, I think in an attention-starved society which we are now in, for any of us who want to communicate, and typically we're talking from a brand standpoint, you want to communicate, get a point across. One of the easier ways to get it done is through video, because people seem to find it convenient to consume maybe a 30 seconds, 1 minute, 2 minute, maybe 5-minute video as against reading long form text.
Right.
So, that's the starting point. And, as you can see, we could have written a blog about this, but we are on video. It's the same reason.
Right, exactly. I think somewhere what is happening is also because of so many factors. Firstly, such amazing cameras available in phones, speeds generally being faster than they were before, even though there's a long way to go, but people generally having 2G, 3G on their phones. I think consumers are becoming used to viewing videos. Availability of Wi-Fi in so many places, that's a big factor.
Absolutely.
So people are used to consuming video content now, whether it's on YouTube, whether it's on Facebook, whether it's on Twitter and Snapchat, you name it. So as a brand, video clearly is the more engaging medium or form of content, because people spend more time and all your senses are engaged and all of that. So if brands don't adopt it, they will be, their communication will be low fidelity compared to what is happening otherwise. So it's super important.
Absolutely. So let's cut this topic into a few aspects to it. So one is, what are the kind of video which brands could do?
Right.
And does everything have to be like a TVC kind of things, or what else could happen? And the related point is, just because you build it, do people come and consume it, or what happens? Does every video get like thousands of views or tens of thousands of views, or if not, then what does it take to get there? Like two broad thoughts,
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
So what are the different kinds of video content that a brand could do?
Right.
What do you think?
So I think my take is that there is some content which just has to be there, which is like a hygiene content, which is, just like there was brochureware websites. I think it's an equivalent of that, where this is content related to your product, your service, your those kind of pieces of content which have to be there, because consumption patterns are, the data doesn't lie. More and more people are going to watch video to consume that kind of content, so you have to have that.
But so I think in that context, it's just anything that you write in text, if there is a easier way to tell a video story.
Right.
So like you're referring to a brochure or maybe like a website. So on the website, something as simple as, let's say your recruitment. Okay. Now today you could fill a whole bunch of pages with saying, we are the company, we are doing this, we are doing that, and here are the openings we have. And how about either the HR head or maybe the CEO walking in front of a camera and telling that what's a great position, how is it so great to work in your company, and what are the exciting things which are happening, and what kind of talent you're looking for, and what does it mean to work in that company. Now that just gets across so much easier and so much more personally. As simple as that. So that's a start, for example. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely. So that's the first bit, and then of course there is so much scope to actually tell stories through video. Whether those are customer success stories, whether those are ongoing stories that showcase you as a thought leader, or whether they're just creative stories that are meant to engage with your target audience.
Right.
So I think there's a hygiene bit, and then there is all of these storytelling opportunities. And so we know, right? The video is such an amazing medium to tell stories, better probably than any other medium. So
yeah, I mean, we are not talking of television commercial kind of content. I mean, if you can put that across, of course, sure, why not? See, if you are doing a TVC, you must do a few more edits which are a little longer, which can work well on the digital media, sure. But there is so much else that you can do and some of the classic cases, and good old, very very popular one was the video which Blendtech created long back. So the Blendtech, for those who don't know, I mean, I think a lot of the digital marketing professionals would know and would have heard of it. But Blendtech was a simple blender manufacturer. Now, you could show a blender working and how you switch it on, how you switch it off. No big deal, right? Now, the interesting thing that probably got accidentally created, and after that it's become a rage of sorts, is when Blendtech put day-to-day, sort of devices or equipment and blended it. So, like, they blended an iPod to begin with, and saw how iPod got converted into dust. And that video became so popular. And then they did a whole bunch of other things. So they got millions of views on those. The point is, what does it do to the business? So when you tomorrow go into a store to buy a blender, first you got to recall, because this was a fun video you saw as against other brands you don't even know of. And secondly, you feel that, if it does such a brilliant job on the iPod, I'm sure it'll handle my food stuff there. So it got better sales on that, And recently I saw this amazing stuff that GE has done. So, GE has a phenomenal presence on social media and digital media, by the way. But this was a particular video which I saw where GE was talking about some of their like massive machines that they make, those big forging machines and blasting machines and all that. And they've almost done a Blendtech that. How do you make those machines look exciting for a common person? I mean, if I have nothing to do with it, I'm not really bothered to see forging machines. But what they did was to put ordinary day-to-day objects in those machines and show them in slow motion video and show like a tea kettle exploding in the middle of a 500-pound pressure. And then they put the same 500-pound pressure on a tennis ball, and the machine opens up and the ball is still restored back. So makes for fun and fascinating content. So video is again a matter of interesting imagination.
Right. Examples also are such that they are like the last brands that you would expect to use video as a storytelling medium. I mean, a blender. I don't know what brand blender I own, right? I mean, and GE has not come into my consideration space for any purchase I have ever made in my life.
So you didn't buy that?
I didn't buy the 500-pound force. No, exactly. So still, because of their storytelling, we are able to recall them and talk about them and so on.
And so if those kinds of brands can do it, there are many other brands who must do it. I mean, let's say you are a real estate company and you're doing all these brochures and putting up nice looking pictures, but if I am sitting away from your project and I want to really get a sense of what that project is like, would you not do a video which actually walks around the project, which walks into a flat, which shows me all the different things which you have to offer? It's got to be done. If you are anything, if you're a restaurant, why don't you take a small video and show me the ambience which you have, the sitting which you have, maybe a little talk with the chef and talking about what are his specialties, anything. I mean, most businesses would be able to showcase themselves so much better on video.
That's right. Absolutely. So, which actually brings me to the next point that you had mentioned, that is it a story of if you build it, they will come? Like if you have video content, it will be discovered on its own and people will watch it, or how does one go about that?
So not really. So if you're a Blendtech and you did that, as a unique first-time video, yeah, I think that is the way it gets discovered, because there is a sense of viral in that. But it's hard to repeat. It's not that everybody can come up with those brilliant ideas. So for most other cases, no, it's not easy. It's just because you build it, they won't find you, and you need to do something to get that initial discovery to happen. Few simple things. you got to be sure that you tag it well. So you put the right keywords, the right discovery tool, so that even if there is not generic sort of viewing, when somebody is looking for that thing in particular, at least when they search, your video comes up as a part of the discovery. That's the minimum thing which you want to do, and ensure that your brand and everything is visible. But if you think that you've created something real fun, something really interesting, and you want people to see it, there are ways to get there. So you've got to seed it into the right kind of platforms, the right kind of viewership. So there are video viewing groups, there are places where latest video gets discovered. You may of course use actual media to get some initial views. Once you reach a certain threshold of viewership, and if your content is good, you could get into certain lists, the top 10 consumer videos of the day, or this or that or whatever, and from there they could take off to a next level, which is then the organic extension.
Right.
Any other ideas on video promoting videos?
So I think like you covered the promotion ideas. I think there is one interesting thing that's happening right now, is that we are still in India, at least we are still in the phase where there is still a possibility of having an early mover advantage.
Yes.
So it's like let's take a look at social media podcasts in India are not there, right? So if whoever comes first and creates brilliant content, I mean that's going to win, right? Or for that matter, what some platforms are doing. So you have Facebook as a platform. We know for a fact that Facebook as a platform is pushing video more than they push images and text and so on and so forth. And why do they do that? I mean, for them it makes Facebook more engaging. For them it just makes Facebook that much of a competitor to a platform like a YouTube. And so it's things like that and they won't always push it, right? But right now they are. Right now Twitter has launched Periscope and Twitter has launched native video. Those are places which are open for early mover advantages, right? So whoever does it in the next 3 months, 4 months, 6 months is going to have a big advantage compared to people who come.
Which in fact is an interesting cue also to understanding that there was a feeling that video equals YouTube. And while of course YouTube is the huge and dominant player, if you create content on video for yourself, for your brand, for you it shouldn't be that YouTube is the be all and end all.
Right.
You should definitely put on YouTube. Should definitely go ahead and put on Facebook independently. You may also do Vimeo and whatnot, wherever else you feel relevant. Because finally, the content was the important part. You did it. Now go ahead and populate it in as many places that you can, so that it increases the chances of getting that visibility.
Right.
Yeah. And actually, one other interesting extension, especially from a point of view of India, is that the next growth is going to come. On the internet, is coming from tier 2, tier 3 spaces, and where English is not necessarily the first language or the language of choice. And by the time you convert all your humongous English content into 6-8 languages in India, is going to take time. Can you create some interesting video content in regional language? And we have seen with one of our clients where a lot of educational content has been created in Indian language, and it has phenomenal uptake. In Tamil and Gujarati and Marathi and everything. So that's one secret sauce, if I may tell you that jump into regional content on video, and it gets discovered, it gets consumed. Simple feature phones can play a video, and you could get penetration in the rural markets and all those kinds of spaces where it's otherwise hard to reach.
Right? No, absolutely. I think regional content is another one of those places where there is a dearth of a lot of content. So if you were to do regional video, there's a high possibility that the friction you face will be less than what you would face 1 year hence, 2 year hence, and so on.
Absolutely.
Right.
So good. So
great. So that's our take on why video is important as part of your digital content strategy. Until next time.
Thank you.